Hello, this is Abhishek Rawal from expresscomputer.in. Today we have Mr. Jayanta Banerjee, the global CIO of Tata Steel, and he'll be taking us through the digital transformation that's underway at Tata Steel. So thank you so much for your time, sir. So sir, to start with, if you can talk about how does IT play a critical role in the digital transformation, and what are the kind of savings and roadmap that you have set for yourself at the company?
Sure, Abhishek. Thank you for inviting me, first of all. See, today it is all Industry 4.0, and Industry 4.0 is all technology and digital, right? At Tata Steel, what we have undertaken last year, at the beginning of last year, 2018, we have launched a massive transformation program which is enabled digitally to transform the business and create EBITDA improvement, right? And we are not talking about millions, we are talking billions here, but I will leave it at that. And that's a massive transformation program. What it intends to do is leveraging digital and IT, create business value, that is move business KPIs, which in turn will add to the bottom line of the company. So that is the overall charter. And also at a Tata Steel level, we want to be the digital steel maker, pioneer in digital steel making in the next 4 to 5 years by 2025, and that's our vision, stated vision. So in order to do that, what we have given ourselves, one is this program charter, that we have to drive this large scale EBITDA transformation. Second is that we've given ourselves a strategy and a framework, and we have given ourselves a dedicated IT and digital leadership which is working hand in hand with business, and that is key because it cannot be done in isolation, because IT and digital and business have to work together to make this happen. So those are the three major starting parameters into the program. So what we are doing is, let me take you through the overall architecture and framework that we have created for ourselves. And this is what I call as a 7-layer architecture. And I personally believe that there is no digital transformation possible without a very strong IT backbone. It is like driving a Ferrari on a very rough road. It is not going to work. So the IT strategy has been broken down into 4 phases, and the digital strategy has been broken down into 3 phases, right? The IT strategy is fundamentally, if you look at the base component, it has connectivity at its core, it has cloud, and it has cyber security. And I will explain each of these components. See, if you are putting data in motion to do digital transformation, you need connectivity. It's basic. I mean, today, if I give you an app and I don't give you an Wi-Fi connectivity, it's of no use. It is as primitive as that. And given Tata Steel, you have to understand our locations are not in all the metros. We are in all the mines and very difficult terrain and locations where connectivity becomes a major challenge. So we had a dedicated focus and a lot of investment in giving ourselves a good bandwidth in each and every location to the extent possible, right? Even in our operating locations, not only in the metros. So that's the connectivity aspect. We are adopting cloud in a very, very large scale. Actually, if I have to share, I'm trying to move around 20 to 80, from currently it is around 19% of our enterprises on cloud in the last 1 year. This year will make it around 80% of our enterprise applications onto the cloud. What it drives is scalability and agility, right? In the yesteryears, we used to take around months to get a server. If you want to start a project and you need infrastructure, you need server, it used to take months to get it into Jamshedpur, just for as an example. Now today, if you look at, I can do it in 8 minutes to 15 minutes. I provision any computing environment. So that's the scalability and agility that we have got. So cloud is a very, very important aspect of this journey. Then comes the cyber security, because if you have to digitally expose the company to such a large scale transformation, you need to make sure the cyber security is at the core. But that is the most important architecture that you need to really have focus on. So your data will be on the cloud, your data is in motion, so you need to focus on security aspect. So that's the bottom layer. The next 2 layers that we are building on this infra layer is fundamentally the sensor roadmap, the sensor technology roadmap, because today all the machines can talk. Any equipment that you look at, you can put a sensor on it and you can gather a lot of data from the machine. The man-machine interface is becoming extremely critical in today's IoT world, And the subsequent layer is the application, that is the application integration. Today the MES and the ERP has to talk to each other. These two layers, in my view, both the application layer and the sensor layer, that is the equipment layer, the level 2 systems and the level 3 systems in IT jargon terminology, are the critical data acquisition systems. It's extremely important. So you have the connectivity, you have the scalability, you have the cyber security to secure, and you have the data acquisition layers on top of it. Subsequent to that is the data office, and which is extremely important midsection of the strategy, which is the core backbone. Because if you have to drive digital transformation, you will hear enterprises talk about analytics, you will hear enterprises talk about AI and cognitive and visualization. But all those technologies will render benefit as good as the data quality underneath, right? So unless your applications are integrated and they are talking to each other, unless your infra is supporting it, unless your sensors and the machines and the man-machine interface is working, you will not get your data right. Even if you have the data governance, the data metrics, what goes into the data structure becomes extremely important, and we call it data office, and there is a lot of focus on creating that single version of truth. I'll leave it at that. Having said that, this is the base IT strategy. These 4 layers form my base IT strategy. On top of it, we are building the digital strategy, that is fundamentally your analytics and insights, your advanced analytics, your AI and cognitive intelligence. Once you have that, you are making the best sense of the data that you have gathered, right, from the machine, from the human interface, from every systems, and you are creating instincts into insights. Today, if you look at any enterprise, most of the decisions are taken by gut feel and a lot of instinct, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It is required in management, but you have to move by data-driven, analytics-driven decision to make it more intelligent, more agile, more scalable. So that is what I call as insight. So that is happening, and if you are doing analytics, if you are driving AI and cognitive, at the end of the day, you need a fantastic visualization layer to render all these insights to the consumer, right? At the end of the day, you want to consume that information or consume that insight, and unless your visualization layer is very good, you won't be able to consume it in the most effective manner. So these are the 7-layer architecture that we are driving to kind of deliver this business transformation that I talked about. The other aspect that I would like to bring to your notice is, so you have to also now, once you have the architecture, you have to put a process of measurement, a process of governance to see how we are progressing and how we are actually making a difference in the business. So that is where this Deming process comes in. So we have a 5-step Deming process. So D0, you can call it as an idea, that somebody in the enterprise has an idea. And then we validate their idea, but we form councils, and between business and technologists we sit together and see that this is a great idea. It can really make some difference in the business, and we do that. Once the idea is validated, then it is documented into the system so that it can be governed, and a business case is formulated that this idea will create this much of EBITDA improvement or revenue generation as a business impact, which business KPI it will actually move, whether it is yield, energy, throughput, quality, right, in the operations. It's very important. So we create a business case and we call it D2. Then we create the project charter for implementation, and from there we implement the project, which is D4. Then once the project is implemented, it is in production, then the onus is on the business to start using it and realize the benefit. And that is the accrual process we talk about. And this accrual process we then get audited by third party and said that this is what we claimed, and is this the right number that is coming to our bottom line or not. So that's the entire process of governance process we follow. That is working out well, and so far the progress in the last 1 year has been significant, and we are sure that we will be making significant progress in the next 2 to 3 years, creating business KPI movement, business value across Tata Steel. So that's the overall framework to answer your question.
Okay. So you spoke about the architecture. Now in the architecture, it's very important that IT and OT are integrated, because you have made a very significant investment in the shop floor and the machine tools and all of that. Now when you are implementing sensors or the industry 4.0 technologies, you will also have to integrate that with the shop floor systems, which have been used by the company since a long time now. Now they were not designed to be integrated with these industry 4.0 technologies. So, can you share how will you manage that IT/OT integration?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, Abhishek. See, what we are doing is that I talked about the sensor layer. So that is where the sensor technology roadmap comes into play. So all the level 2 systems, we are not going to change the level 2 systems just for the sake of changing, right? Now what we are trying to do is that we are trying to create an optimal sensor technology roadmap. That means where to put sensors, because you just don't blindly put sensors across all machines, because then your cost will increase and the benefit will not accrue to the extent you have made that investment. So there are processes, there are methodologies, we call it maintenance technology roadmap. There is a program we have initiated which optimally determines that how to drive more predictability and reliability from the shop floor. Those are the two major business KPIs, and that drives exactly what you are saying. So that is the OT system. On top of it, you create those applications, and then it's an universal bus. The data office fundamentally is the integration layer. Your sensors will give you data, your applications will also give you data, but the data office integrates both the level 2 and level 3 system, the data that is emanating from those two layers, into one single data structure, and on top of it is the analytics and the AI and whatever technology you want to drive to actually mobilize those business KPIs. So integration is being played by the data, because data is common across both the layers. Instead of, you can look at it as an universal bus, or you can look at it as a universal adapter, right? It's an abstraction layer on top of those two systems, rather than discarding the old systems and bringing in new, which will not be cost effective in my view, and that is the approach we are taking.
Okay, so just one last question on creating a culture for digital transformation. So if you can talk about that, what was the program that has been initiated by Tata Steel, so that the employee on the shop floor who are at times not that much educated, but they still understand what the importance of digital, and when an age will come when they will start using tabs, but they are semi-educated, it becomes a bit challenging, but they still understand the importance, as well as how do you make them communicate in the same language with the production manager or the people at the top. So creating a culture of digital transformation, if you can talk about that.
So that's the most difficult part of any transformation. But I will take it so there are phases. See, before we embarked on this program and we put a vision to it, put a number to it, put leadership and charter and all that I described, there was an acceleration program that we ran for a couple of years, right? Which was sensitizing the entire enterprise towards what is the art of possible, what digital really means, right? Giving a definition of digital, making people aware, right? Simple things like giving an app, talking about this is possibly, if you use, this will be benefit that you will get personally at an organization level. So there was a lot of engagement, you call it the evangelism, right? So that was done, that phase was important. Second point is seeing is believing, and I would say that the biggest challenge that we face in business transformation is not with the people who really understand digital, but the operator is the keyword you mentioned. So the operator is operating the blast furnace. Now he knows or she knows the best, right, at a given point in time, and sometimes they have to take decision within 5 minutes, 6 minutes, sometimes within few seconds they have to take a major decision. What is the temperature of the blast furnace is right, and you have to stop the operation or the injection and whatever. So now we bring in mathematical stochastic algorithms, right? We bring in AI, and that model can tell the operator do this or do that. You are already in the range. Now at the end of the day, the operator still has to take the decision, because we have not automated it. We are not giving it fully to the machine control. It's a suggestion the model is making. It is up to the operator to listen or not listen. So you have to allow time. Typically what I have seen is that if you allow say 2 months, 3 months, around that range, several weeks, 12 weeks, 10 to 12 weeks of time, where the model keeps on giving inputs, and some of those inputs are used by the operator, some of the inputs he doesn't use but takes his own decision. Over the period of time, the operator himself or herself sees that yes, what the model is saying is more accurate than what I am taking a decision based on, because the model can process much more data, much faster, and is much more effective. And once he appreciates, immediately the model is adopted. That's an example. I'll also tell you from a safety perspective and use case. So you're monitoring the blast furnace, right? And there is no barrier between the blast furnace and the operator. Now, God forbid if there is some issue and it is not safe, right? So what we have done, we have put a wall and put high resolution cameras looking at the blast furnace from different angles. Earlier, the operators to see with naked eye what is happening and making a determination that temperature is right, the color is right, the flame is right, and all that. But today you can look at high definition camera images, which is also giving you multiple angle, which is not otherwise possible, and you are able to actually make much more informed decision because you can see it better, and you are safer because nothing can come and hit you, right? So those things are becoming more and more acceptable because of this. A third example is we are doing a very innovative IoT application to cater to the safety and compliance of our contract workforce. For example, see, you can geofence with IoT today, right? There are technologies. I can, instead of putting a physical barrier, we can geofence a particular hazardous zone, so that when a person or a contractor gets into the hazardous area, there will be a noise, there is a beep, and an emergency response team and SOS can be sent, right? So those things were not earlier possible. So those are the applications where people feel they're much more safe, they're always being tracked, they're visible. So you can preempt accidents, preempt disadvantageous situation by using those technologies. So the technology can be applied in many different use cases. Just to give you a few examples, I cited those. But I think this IoT, the digital, is actually, once the operator or the people see that is helping me take the decision, the information is with me, the salesperson sees that, okay, I know the customer before even I meet the customer. I know so many facts about the customer. I can make a better sales pitch. Obviously, the person is going to use the CRM system or the mobile app that is given to him, because the data is coming to his fingertips. So that is the only way the cultural transformation will happen. So it is not about making a pitch or making a movie. You have to just go and engage, actually create those models, give it to them and let them use it, and allow the time. We have to allow around 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks, what I typically see for a model, for the operator to get convinced, right? So that is the only way the cultural transformation, once they start seeing the value coming in, the transformation kicks in, and they actually, I would say that they then ask for more. So actually, once we get into 2 or 3 use cases, give it to the user. After they said, why don't you do this for me, why don't you do that for me, and that is how the model matures.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
So just one more.